Hi, my name's Riley, and with Grand Archive's newest set, Alchemical Revolution, releasing this Friday, I thought it'd be fun to go through and rank all of the new champion cards, and give you some of my thoughts on them. So without further ado, let's get started. First up, we have Arisanna, Herbalist Prodigy. Arisanna's ability is the new keyword Gather, which allows you to randomly generate a herb based on what you roll on a d6, and you get to do it twice with her. These herbs all have minor effects, ranging from recovering you 1, cycling a card, or gaining you a level until end of turn. But the true strength of these herbs comes in is actually the brew mechanic of potions, where cards like Serum of Wisdom allow you to turn free herbs into free resources, which is pretty good, having each herb be a lotus petal. But in some cases, like Convalescent Tonic, you actually turn each one of those herbs into free resources, making them similar to a Black Lotus. So not only do each of these herbs have a little minor effect that is quite useful in its own right, being able to generate resources is absolutely insane, especially when this single card can give you the equivalent of 6 resources just by itself. And for that, I have to think that she is the strongest level 1 we have seen to date, and have to give her a 5 out of 5. Next up, we have Arisanna's level 2, Master Alchemist. Arisanna's level 2 has the exact same effect as her level 1, being able to gather 2 herbs, which we've already gone over how great and strong this is, but she adds a new ability as an inherent effect, which is you can sack 2 herbs of the same name to draw a card. Unfortunately, this is restricted to your end step, but drawing an extra card every turn if you're able to generate the herbs is hugely strong, and this is very similar to Rai's level 2 ability. Except while Rai draws a card every 1.5 turns, she draws one every turn, and with that card advantage, you can do a lot. So in my opinion, definitely another 5 out of 5. This level 2 has a lot of power, and I'm really excited to see what she does. Now for Arisanna's first level 3, Lucent Arbiter. Like both Arisannas, you get access to the Astral element, which gives us a bunch of powerful cards. We're just going to be focusing on our own effect here. Your effect is to pay free, tap, reveal the top card of your deck, and then negate target card's activation if its cost equals the cost of the card revealed. This plays very similar to Counterbalance Magic, which is a strong effect, and it definitely plays into a control deck. Unfortunately, in the current meta of Grand Archive, I think the format is a bit too fast for control to really compete, but hopefully Alchemical Revolution can slow that format down and really give her a chance to shine. And if that happens, I would like to give her a 4 out of 5, or even a 5 out of 5 maybe, but for now, in the current speed of the format, I can't give her anything better than a 3 out of 5. Sanna's second level 3, Astral's Zenith. It's also an Astral element, and she plays around with the new Star Calling mechanic, which basically means if you reveal a card during a glimpse that has Star Calling, you can pay that card for its Star Calling cost, and then you put all of the other cards you glimpses on the bottom of your deck. Her effect is once per turn, you can pay 0 rather than pay their actual costs, which is pretty strong. Getting to cast the spell for free every turn, there's a lot of power that comes from that. And also, it doesn't have to be the first card you reveal. So if you reveal a 0 cost Star Calling card, like Astra's Sight, you can just choose not to use this ability and save it on the next card. Unfortunately, I feel like she's going to end up playing a lot like Xander, where at level 3, she can win the game by herself, but getting to level 3 and surviving is going to be a problem. And at the moment, I don't think she has the necessary tools to survive like Xander does with his very aggressive starts. And for that, once again, I'm going to have to give her a 3 out of 5. On to our Ranger, Diana, King Huntress. At first, her effect is very similar to level 1 Lorraine, being able to get you a free weapon. Unfortunately, hers is a lineage release, meaning on her own, she does nothing. She only gets her effect when you get to level 2. But free Materialize is very strong, especially when she doesn't have the restriction of Lorraine only getting 0 cost. She can get a 1 cost. You do have to pay that cost though. But getting a free Materialize, hugely strong, as shown by cards like Dungeon Guide and Perceptual ones. But due to the fact she does nothing by herself, I can't give her anything higher than a 3 out of 5. Just for the odd chance that you have a bad hand and get stuck at level 1, there's nothing to come help you get out of that. Diana's level 2, on the other hand, is incredible. Once again, you get a free Materialize, this time for a bullet. But once again, it doesn't have to be a 0 cost, you just have to pay the cost of whatever bullet you choose to Materialize. And once you hit level 2, you can banish that level 1 to get the gun, meaning you're ready to attack. She also provides the inherited effect of range 2, meaning whenever she becomes distant, she gets +2 attack. This is very similar to Lorraine's level 2, without the draw card. But personally, I think the Materializing is very strong here. And because of that, I'm going to have to give her a 5 out of 5. Into Diana's level 3s, first up we have Cursebreaker. Cursebreaker gives us access to the Umbra element, which introduces the Curse mechanic. Curses are cards that go to champion souls and provide certain effects while they're in there, whether it be reducing their health or making them take damage when they draw a card. Cursebreaker is very interesting in the fact you want curses in your own lineage. So you effectively debuff yourself, and by banishing 4 of them, you can get an incredibly powerful effect. You get to Materialize 2 bullets, and whenever you attack, you wake up. Meaning, she plays very similar to an Exodia playstyle, where if you pull this off, you're probably winning the game this turn, with a barrage of attacks just beating your opponent down. Unfortunately, the problem with this is, curses all have negative effects. Most of them result in you effectively losing 2 health. Meaning, despite being a level 3, to pull off this ability, you have to effectively reduce your max health to 17, which is a really rough spot to be in. And so, why I think this effect is incredibly powerful and probably game winning, the amount of hoops you have to jump through to get it means I can't rate her higher than 2 out of 5. But who knows, maybe some people figure out a way to make it very consistent and safe. I know the Umbra Sight is definitely a powerful card that may allow this strategy. Finally, Diana's second level 3, Duskstalker. Once again giving us access to the Umbra element. Duskstalker on enter becomes distant, triggering the level 2 Diana's inherent ability, effectively giving her +2 attack on the turn she enters, which is very nice. Her second effect, on hit, on champion hit, generate a Creeping Torment and put it in the bottom of the hit champion's lineage. Creeping Torment makes it so whenever an opponent draws their second card a turn, they take 2 unpreventable damage, and this can stack. So if you have multiple in there, and they draw a card, they could be taking 6, 8 damage. Even more if you keep stacking them up, as you can put them in there in other ways. Due to this, I think Duskstalker is way more consistent than Cursebreaker. And I feel like maybe a really strong pick in the current meta where a lot of decks are drawing multiple cards a turn. And because of that, I'm going to give her a 4 out of 5. The final new class introduced in Alchemical Revolution is Guardian. And with that, we have Tonoris Lone Mercenary. Tonoris' effect is on enter, he gains taunt until the beginning of your next turn. This allows you to protect some vulnerable allies and do a bit of setup, which is nice. Not to mention, he also has the same traits as Warrior, where level 1 has 20 health, making him a very strong pick. And because of that, I have to give him 4 out of 5, as he allows some really nice ally strategies. Now for Tonoris' level 2, Might of Humanity. This is definitely the weakest one. Most level 2s gives you some form of card advantage, Tonoris does not. His next attack this turn gets +3, so he does get to clear an ally or maybe hit the enemy for a big chunk to the face. But unfortunately, he does require a weapon or an attack to do so that's a bit of a downside. If he had just gained that attack this turn, I think he would have been much better, because he would have just been able to clear a troublesome ally. But he does have one huge advantage. At level 2, being a Guardian, he gets 25 health. That is insane. That is the same health as most level 3s besides a Warrior. And the amount of games I have seen where people have gone, oh, I would have won if it wasn't for the extra health of Lorraine and stuff like that, makes me realize how strong extra HP is. So because of that, even though he has a lackluster effect, I'm going to give him 3 out of 5. And our final new advanced element is Neos, which gives us access to Tonoris, Creation's Will. This is a very interesting card, where basically anytime you would summon a token, you can have that token be a weapon instead, specifically a 1/3 greatsword. And then he has the ability where all token weapons have, you can sacrifice it to give another weapon plus X, where X is that weapon's attack. Now this allows Tonoris to do some absolutely massive attacks, but unfortunately, as we know, single big attacks are very easy to prevent with cards like Frostbind and all of the new spell shields. But now the big thing here is, being a Guardian at level 3, he has 30 health. That is 2 more health than both Merlin and Lorraine, which is absolutely massive. So with all of these things in mind, I definitely have to give him a 4 out of 5. Though, if a strategy does come up, he could easily be a 5 out of 5. Finally, we have Tonoris' second level 3, Genesis Aegis. Once again in the Neos element, and with that huge 30 health. He plays very similar to Merlin, whereas each turn he gets a bit more powerful by summoning one of the obelisks that you haven't summoned previously. These all have different effects, ranging from being able to tap to create a greatsword, make a automaton, or prevent damage. And all of them cost less for each domain, so with each one you make, it makes the other ones cheaper. Not to mention, all of the new domains coming out in Alchemical Revolution allow for some really powerful stuff. We even have a domain that makes all of your other domains reservable, which is absolutely insane. And due to this, I see Genesis Aegis being the strongest level 3 they've introduced in Alchemical Revolution, and have to give it 5 out of 5. I strongly believe he is in the best spot to compete in the current meta. Now onto all of the new dual element heroes, starting with Polkhawk, Bombastic Shot. Polkhawk gives us access to the fire element. Now being dual element, it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out, because on the one hand, it gives you access to way more cards, but on the other, earlier levels, you can brick on the element that you are not currently active. For example, if you start off as a water spirit and plan to go into Polkhawk, if you draw all of these fire cards, you're going to be in a rough time. But onto his effects alone, he has range 2, similar to Diane's level 2, which, as I said, is pretty strong, by making him distant, plus 2 attack. Nice, you can do it every turn. And now his truly strong effect is Ranger reaction cards cost 1 less to activate. This can be a huge amount of resources over a game. And because of that, I don't think it can be underestimated. But I also don't feel like he really has a place in the meta. And because of that, I can't give him anything higher than 3 out of 5. Our second dual element hero is Nico, Whiplash Allure, who gives us access to the water element. Nico, being a Guardian, has 25 health, which is pretty cool being a level 2 hero with level 3 health. Unfortunately, I don't think her ability is that strong. Whenever you banish a card with floating memory from your graveyard, you can put a lash counter on her. She then has, on champion hit, you may have that opponent put the top X cards of their deck into their graveyard, where X is the amount of lash counters on Nico. This is a bit slow to ramp up, and also in the current metagame, mill isn't that good, as you risk milling your opponent's floating memory and actually helping them. The only deck this is really strong against is decks like Migh, where they're not running many, if any, floating memory, so you just have a chance to mill their win conditions and stop them. And overall, Nico just isn't that powerful. But she does have a very strong weapon, and I think her weapon is where her true power lies. But just as herself, I think her only redeeming quality is the 25 health. So once again, I'm gonna have to give her 3 out of 5. Our next dual element card is interesting. Vanitas, Oblivate Schemer, is a wind element, but he doesn't actually want to be dual element. His on-enter effect is, if there's another wind element card in his lineage, you get to glimpse 4, meaning he has no effect unless you are wind, which is pretty bad. He also has this other restriction of he can only level up into himself. But he does have this one upside. It makes him really good with the Serene Wind Spirit, to be able to get that glimpse at the start of the game, and in late game, be able to recover. But because of that, and he just not doing anything, Serene Spirit giving you one less card, at the moment, I have to give him 2 out of 5. Vanitas' level 2, Covergent Ruin, is so interesting, and it's actually my favourite hero in the new set. Once again being wind element, he has to be leveled up on top of his level 1. But he has something no other heroes have. A base 1 attack. This is absolutely huge, meaning just by himself and attacking, he can just kill any extra ones. But it gets better. Whenever you cast a spell, his next attack gets +1, but does have the restrictions of not being able to use weapons. So if you just play a single Fairy Whispers, he attacks for 2, now clearing X and 2s. Add any other cards in there, and he just keeps getting stronger, clearing more. He then has a second effect. On champion hit, if he deals 7 or more damage, next turn that opponent's materializes costs 1 more. That is insane and can absolutely cripple decks. If you manage to pull this off against a Diana who is about to go off, you can just ruin their turn. They can't level up to 2 because their materialize is going to cost 1 more. They can't banish because it's going to cost 1 more. Everything just sucks. So because of this, I think he's absolutely amazing, despite being held back by his level 1. And I have to give him 4 out of 5. And that is all of the new champions coming in Alchemical Revolution. What did you think? Do you agree with me? If not, please feel free to leave a comment and let me know what your thoughts are. I'm excited to see what everyone's opinions are. I'll probably do a follow-up video in a couple months once the meta is stabilized and we've had a few big events, to see how close my thoughts are to the final results of the meta, because who knows, maybe Diana Cursebreaker is actually broken and needs to be banned. Only time will tell. But anyway, thanks for watching.